Hi, this is John Modlin, Senior Systems Engineer for Profitap in North America. I'd like to show you some differences between version 2 on the IOTA and version 3 now, which is much more sophisticated. Here you have the splash screen we call the overview dashboard. And in the old version, you didn't really have OR filters as an option, but now you can easily apply an OR filter. You just select, whatever you want here, and you can say, or, L4 port, for example, 53. Okay. It's that easy to set up an OR filter. And for an AND filter, it automatically detects whether you're going to need an AND filter or not. I'm doing IP source here, but let's say I put IP destination over here on the next field, which I thought this was cool. They did this. It automatically converted that to an AND for me. So I'm going to get rid of these filters. So I'm back to this graph without any filters. And here you have your I'm looking at 6 hours worth of traffic. You have your graphs here, megabits per second. We had this kind of before, your new flows, which is an addition to what we had before. And then down here, you've got your protocol stack and your table, which is showing your source and destination IPs. It's also showing your VLANs now, your application, client port, server port, flow duration, and payload bytes, all on one table, which is new. And you can download any of these just by clicking the download here. But new on this dashboard is this inspect feature. The inspect feature will take you right into the flow detail of that flow. So you can see here your flow detail, your packet structure, which is really nice. You can see how is that flow actually traversing the network. And down here, you'd have some bandwidth. Now, if this was a TCP connection, you'd also have some latency in here. And I'll show you that later. But it will show that in here as well. And also this cool bandwidth graph, which is really nice. It shows your upload, your download, and your max, min, mean, last down here on the right. This is all new. And I really like this. The old version, you had kind of bar graph kind of style graphs, and this is very smooth graphing here now on this new version. So let's take a look at another dashboard. Let's go to Application Overview. Application Overview is a brand new dashboard. Now, we had Application Overview in version 2. It didn't look anything like this, and it didn't have this much information on it. You've still got your filters up here, just like you had on the overview dashboard. And here you've got your top bandwidths per application and a table, a legend over here to the right of the same thing. Now, the interesting thing about this particular spiral graph here is on the inside, it's showing you the category of the traffic, which I thought was really cool. Very handy. Like, here is all the advertisements traffic that's going on your network here. Google Analytics, Nielsen Services, Adobe Experience. I like the way they split all this out, Amazon, Google Ads. But also it has your business stuff in here. So if I go to business here, here's Fox Business. Amazon Cloud over here for cloud services, your social networking, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I noticed it also finds TikTok, whatever's streaming on here. But if I wanted to filter in on one of these, I could just click it. Now I know exactly how much traffic is Netflix, and it automatically updated my whole dashboard for me. And down here, if I go to latency, I can see what kind of latency am I getting on the flows for the Netflix traffic. Where is that traffic in the world? What are the interesting IPs on those flows? And down here, I can see my bandwidth by client IP, showing your legend over here, your server IPs, your client IPs, and the DNS calls that were used to find this traffic here. And your local device name is based on DHCP. So this is all new here. I really like this dashboard. It has got a plethora of information on it to help you troubleshoot any, application issues, specifically. Now I just got rid of that filter and took me back to the basic. Now I've got several pages of these tables here, and I can download any of this flows if I want to. And you've still got the capability of using these magnifying glasses to filter in on any traffic. If I want to do it this way, I could do it that way for streaming traffic, and that built me a filter up here. Going to the next dashboard, you've got the DNS overview. Now, we had DNS overview in version 2, but this has been changed a little bit, and now it's showing you your flows that were used based on the DNS calls, which is nice because now you can take your top interesting DNS queries and find the flows associated with those, which might have been the problem that you were troubleshooting, for example. And you can also download these specific flows here. And you can also see, like you could in version 2, are you using any DNS servers that you don't want to be using? Or does the people have some outside DNS servers maybe you didn't want people to use in your network? Going on to the HTTP overview dashboard here, we had this dashboard before. It looks a little different. It's very similar information here. You've got your HTTP return codes and your interesting request URLs that were made, and what those user agents and addresses were in the calls. There isn't much on this IOTA to show you, but it's fairly simple how it works here. I had to expand this out 7 days just to get this much based on the traffic on this IOTA. But this is also a very useful dashboard, and you can download each of these as well, or you can inspect these HTTPs calls just like you could on the other one. Here you can see your interesting flow detail, your packet structure again. Here you're getting the latency on the traffic, min, average, and max. That's what I was showing you on the other one, but there wasn't enough traffic for it to show you that, but here there is. And here you can see the interesting up-down flow and latencies again. So this latency calculation here is very handy for finding out, is the network slow, which is the biggest complaint you ever hear on a network. So local assets is the next dashboard. This is a new dashboard. Here you can see your total bits per second for your local traffic, and it's showing you here the MAC addresses assigned to your IP. So you got layer 2, layer 3 right on here. And you've also got down here the server inventory list, and you can see the DHCP names and also the DHCP host names on your local traffic here. So it's trying to break out for you the names of your devices based on the information it can get from the packets and DHCP. So this is not a local host table like you would use in a Windows machine. It's actually extracted from the packets to give you the device specific information. This is nice because you can trust this information, not based on some host table that somebody might have just keyed the information in. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not. This is derived right from the DHCP traffic. Now, we had the microburst dashboard before, and it pretty similar to this. It shows you microbursts, like if you want to zoom in on a very small piece of traffic, Here you have, I zoomed in on a piece. I'm going to zoom in a little more, zoom in a little more. Here we're just looking at, really a couple seconds worth of traffic. You've still got nice, smooth graphing. Your total traffic for this specific time frame you just zoomed in on, and the actual PCAP file that contains this if you want to download it. The Modbus dashboard is new. I don't have any Modbus traffic loaded in my IOTA to show you, unfortunately, but it's very nice. I have seen it. It does show you the Modbus messaging, which is important to be able to troubleshoot it. If you're not familiar with Modbus, it's an industrial protocol, and you may or may not be using it in your network, but this new dashboard really helps a lot in troubleshooting this protocol. Now, this SSL TLS overview, we had this before, but this one has a lot more information on it and very useful information about the ciphers that your traffic might be using. This has become more important lately in the industry. For example, you've got TLS, version 1.3. All that is fine, right? That's the latest. 1.2 is okay. But what about if there's any 1.1 traffic, on the network? I don't see any on here, but it would show you if you had TLS version 1.1 traffic. And here you can see, here's a list of all the ones it detected. So if you have any unsafe ciphers, all you got to do is open up this, and it's going to tell you who they are, who the IP is, and you can go take care of that. That's super nice. Then down here, you've got any messaging related to your TLS traffic that you might want to take a look at. And again, you've got the inspect feature. We'll let you go right in and look at your flow detail again. Here's your three-way handshake, and your packet traffic, your packet structure. Here's your key right here, your cipher, and how much bandwidth you've got, and your latency again, and your basic, graph of your input-output flow. Now, the TCP analysis dashboard has come quite a ways. Here, you've got so much more information than we had before on this. You've got your client, your server, your interesting ports, your short-term latency, which is the time from the SYN to the first SYNAC response. So this is your short-term latency. And if that's off, your payload latency is probably going to be pretty bad if your short-term latency is bad. So this is an indicator. And then your max latency here based on your payload. But what I really like is this. This is showing you your window scaling on each side of the handshake. It's showing you your MSS size on each side of the handshake and whether SAC is enabled on either side of the handshake and whether or not the three-way handshake was even completed. This to me is really nice. I'm going to open the time frame up on this a little bit so we can see some more examples of this. You've got a lot of information here about all of your connections, and if things are having trouble, if traffic is having trouble connecting, if you see any window scaling 0 in here, or not there at all, then you might be having some zero window conditions, and those are worth investigating. That could be a device configuration issue. You also have, latency down here, which is showing your, and this is all new, really. We had some of this before, but it is so much better now. Breaking out your applications and your average server latency per application. So if somebody's having a specific problem with an application, you can come right here and take a look. You can see if it's their IP address or whatever. And again, you've got the inspect feature on all of this. And your retransmission per 2-minute intervals down here. You've also got bandwidth. I didn't open all these. I'm kind of going backwards. Here's your bandwidth per application and TCP events. So how many unanswered three-ways, completed three-ways. This is good information here to help you resolve problems for TCP traffic. So we do have a VoIP dashboard now. Now I think we had the VoIP dashboard right at the end of version 2. And so we have it here again in version 3. And I don't have any VoIP traffic here on my IOTA to show you, unfortunately, but it's very nice. It shows you your call detail, your call flow. It shows you jitter, latency, and of course, those are factors that greatly affect your voice quality. And you can see down here, it breaks them all out independently. I'm sorry I don't have any of that to show you, but I have seen it work before on an IOTA with loaded PCAP files that have VoIP traffic in it, and it's very nice. It will really help you resolve VoIP problems quickly, and you can easily download, like you always could before, direct to PCAP files for further analysis on any of these dashboards that I've shown you. And I think you're going to really like these changes. Now, system-wise, you've still got capture control, interface configuration, capture export, storage management, captured files. There isn't a lot that's changed on the system side of the IOTA. So all that will be pretty easy for you to navigate because it hasn't changed hardly at all. Now, modifying dashboards isn't the same as it used to be. So they've made the IOTA so you could create, a dashboard if you wanted to, but the reason they're keeping tighter control on the dashboard creation is because they want people to have accurate data and accurate results. And if people create their own dashboards, their own queries, their own graphs, they may get spurious results, and then their troubleshooting might not be accurate. So we recommend to use the dashboards that are included with the IOTA, and you can save your filters. For example, you could say, I want to filter for a specific device down here. It doesn't really matter what it is. We'll save this one. And if I want to make a shortcut to this dashboard and say, I always want to troubleshoot this device and some other port for some reason. Say I'm looking at VLAN 13, for example, and this IP, I could create a shortcut for this dashboard with these filters on it. And now whenever I give that shortcut a name, and now I can just go to it to troubleshoot those things. That's an easier way and uses the underlying dashboard analytics that are already pre-programmed in there without modifying the dashboard actually to create a scenario you need to use for a recurring instance of an issue. So I know this video is a lot longer than the ones I normally do. I had a lot to cover. I tried to go quickly. If you have any questions, if you have any problems, just reach out to me. It's john.modlin, MODLIN @profitap.com, or you can always send a message to support@profitap.com. Our engineers are very good. They're happy to help with any problems you might have or issues or questions. So once again, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.